Points on offer to the winner of this race. The first Pre-A final of the day. It's going to be Luka Batuev who starts this one on pole, with championship leader coming into today, Aidan Hammond alongside. Ellis Cox and Rory Hamilton are on row 2, with Margaris Kavekis and Oliver Yangu on row number 3. It's on row 4 that we find Teddy Young and Jude Padderfoot, and then the top 10 is rounded out by Laurie McVeigh and Jacob Underhill. Edward Jones and Jensen Barnard are next on row 6, and then it's Ben Hunt and Max Lovell on row 7. Harney Sadiq and Wyatt McAllister are your 8th row of the grid, with Charlie Chipregi and Ewan Farrelly on row number 9. And then confirmed promotees from the Pre-B final, we have Corey Chapman and Drov Rout on the back row of the grid to make it a 20-cart field. Now, on the subject of those who are getting promotion spots through, we've mentioned a couple of times of how you get a good awareness of the circuit. I will just mention Alfie Slattery, who finished second in that Pre-C final, was the biggest mover in the Pre-B final of this class, up 13 places. So it could be interesting to see how the top 2 from the Pre-B final make it here. Nevertheless, we get underway here with our Pre-A final. Into the first corner. How does Luka Batuev do? Manages to pilot his kart through cleanly. And that is a broadly clean start through the first chicane. Still Batuev in the lead in 28 kart there. Looks to me like Aidan Hammond may have gone down to third. We have got spinners in the middle there. I can see one of them is the number 20 of Jacob Underhill. He's round. And the 19 is round as well. That makes it... who's that who's round? That would be Wyatt McAllister, as they all come up the other part of the circuit now. But it looks to me like it's been a great start. No, lost out the lead. The 11 of Ellis Cox has come to the fore as they head back up the circuit. I think that's Cox in the lead in the number 11, as they all squirrel around for grip through the horseshoe and onto the back straight for the first time. But it is indeed the number 11 of Ellis Cox who has the lead in the early stages.
One win so far this year for Ellis Cox. That was the Trophy A final at the second Wilton Mill round.
Oh, and side by side for second place as well. That's the 57 challenging Luka Batuev. That's Laurie McVeigh coming and trying to take that position. But for the moment, it's Batuev, but great drive for McVeigh round the outside in the first chicane. And that's through for second place. And almost immediately, Rory Hamilton in the number 10 senses an opportunity as well. But it's Batuev in third for now. That was a great move, though, by Laurie McVeigh.
Yeah, loving that. Got that outside line with a bit more grip. Used the curb to a good advantage as well. Really nicely done. Hamilton down the inside of Batuev, but Batuev slides it through, finds some grip, retakes third place.
Yeah, it looked like Oliver Yangu and Harney Sadiq as well, having a good battle in the background as well. Aidan Hammond in the middle of those two battle groups, trying to get in touch with Rory Hamilton there in fourth at the moment.
Well, Laurie McVeigh, we should remember this is the first appearance for Laurie McVeigh in 2023.
I think Drov Rout may have had an incident on the first lap as well, by the way. Has dropped well back off the field. So unfortunate for the winner of the Pre-C final.
Yeah, Ewan Farrelly has also had problems. Is some 10 seconds off the back of Edward Jones. But the race steadying down now. Move for 6th place. Harney Sadiq has got past Oliver Yangu. Ben Hunt has also got into the top 10, but also has a penalty. So expect the number 53 to move down a couple of positions later on in this, well, after the race is finished.
Yeah, indeed. Track limit warning for McVeigh. We want to try and avoid picking up too many more of those. Corey Chapman, by the way, your winner of... sorry, I said Drov Rout was the Pre-C final winner, didn't I? Well, promotee from the Pre-C final, because it was Corey Chapman, of course, who won that race. Up to 13th place already in the 50. So interesting to see that, as there's a penalty issued for the 19 of Wyatt McAllister, which is going to be salt in the wounds, I think, because we saw him having a spin on that number 1. Through the final couple of apexes then comes Rory Hamilton. And Hamilton ahead of Batuev now confirmed in the change for third place. So it's Ellis Cox in the lead, Laurie McVeigh in second. But needs to be careful with the track limits warning having been issued. Then it's Rory Hamilton.
Corey Chapman up 2 places that last lap. Still really on the charge here.
Yeah, is happy with these conditions. Won that pre-C final. Yes, has a contact warning. Going to need to be careful of that. But working through the field really nicely here is side by side. Here goes the 58 and the 49. So that is Yangu and Putterfoot battling away. And they've got to be careful as well because Kavekis would like some of this as well. We cut back to further up the field, going down the back straight. And now looking at drivers coming back up the circuit. So that is... still the battle between Yangu and Putterfoot, I believe that was.
Yeah, Yangu was a bit wide coming out of the final bit of the horseshoe. It meant that Putterfoot just got up the inside on that line.
Race lead.
Yeah,
Ellis
race
Cox.
lead. Ellis Cox and Laurie McVeigh together as they go into the second chicane. The number 10 of Rory Hamilton not too far behind also.
Another warning for McVeigh.
Yeah,
this
just needs
time
to be careful on these track limits. Yeah. As down the inside into the parabolica. Is there going to be enough grip there? Ellis Cox will use the outside line to hold on to the lead, but here comes Hamilton round the outside. Takes McVeigh beautifully there, but McVeigh's going to fight back on the inside as they approach into the horseshoe. McVeigh actually takes the lead for a moment, but it's going to be on the wide line now. Can he get the grip? Yes, he can, but he's going to lose it again. This ain't the back and forth nature of that sequence of corners, but Laurie McVeigh, having been under attack and losing second place on the entry to the horseshoe, ends up leaving the horseshoe in the lead.
Yeah, really nice dogfight through the tricky, greasy conditions here at Lydd, but it is for now Laurie McVeigh in the lead, but with I think surely on last chance saloon with track limit warnings, that is something to keep an eye on. Ellis Cox in second, Rory Hamilton in third. Luca Batuev just dropped off the back a little bit. As you can see further back as well. Something happened to Oliver Yangu. Andrew, he's lost out a fair few places there. In fact, there's several changes happening further back in the field.
Pre-B final winner, Corey Chapman, is up into the top 10 now. Has got past Ben Hunt. Has got a bit of work to do because there's a nearly 5-second gap up the road to Oliver Yangu. But once again, one of the drivers coming through from the lower finals doing very nicely, taking the opportunities and the knowledge from prior races into a higher race and scoring good points as a result. 4 minutes and 40 to go. Lots of other position changes further down the order, by the way. Pretty much everyone from about 8th down changed some form of position on that last lap. We'll mention a couple of the best ones. Edward Jones gained 3. Jacob Underhill also gained 3 on that last lap. Track limit warning for Luca Batuev. And it does feel like the track is getting subtly quicker. I think that's why we're getting so many track limit warnings coming in now. As running wide there is the number 100 of Aidan Hammond, who's got 2 track limit warnings. That might be another one coming in there. I think this is going to be one of those races where drivers move up and down the charts a lot once all the penalties have been applied.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's your race leader then, Laurie McVeigh, and there's the penalty for Aidan Hammond.
That's going to be a track limit.
He won't thank you for mentioning that one, Andrew. But no, I think it's coming either way because track limit infringements are plenty. Our timing page just sort of flashed up with several of them at once. Laurie McVeigh leads, Ellis Cox in second, Rory Hamilton in third. Good battle coming back up the circuit at the moment and out onto the back straight. Several drivers quite close together. You can just see it coming into the back of your shot there. That's all for position. And turning in there, that is the 58 of Jude Putterfoot. So this is a battle over 5th place. I think Putterfoot's slightly pulled away from Hani Sadiq on this lap. And then look at this, good little move there. The 20 going super wide there. Jacob Underhill really going for the wet line there in his battle against the 19 of Wyatt McAllister. And McAllister gets through. And they've both got by on Ben Hunt, the 53 there behind you. Bearing in mind that both these drivers, Wyatt McAllister and Jacob Underhill, both had spins on the first lap and are on a bit of a recovery drive here. And Andrew dropping back down as they did from where they would have qualified, albeit in dry conditions. I think they've got the pace to try and work their way back up through the field here.
And they've got to remember as well that the result from this race sets the grid for the Trophy A final.
Very
so there's that element of things as well. You don't want to throw away a potential for a good result in that one. Yeah, you'll have to start a little bit further back than you would have liked, but you can do something from the 6th or 7th row of the grid on a day like today. 2 minutes and 10 remaining on the clock. Laurie McVeigh, as I say, is on 0 points for his championship bid at the moment, but at the moment it's going to be shooting straight up to 130 with a fantastic drive.
Sorry, Andrew. First driver to break into the 103s as well.
Yep.
Just set a new fastest lap of the race last time around. So, and very good timing too, because Ellis Cox is keeping the race lead nice and honest here. There is your race leader, and then a bit of a gap now back to Ellis Cox, who actually now is perhaps worrying a little bit more about Rory Hamilton behind in the number 10. The 11 versus the 10 is your battle for second here on screen right now. Wider line taken by Cox and on through the horseshoe and onto the back straight. Here they come then towards the final corner of the lap. Still a decent battle. I'm keeping one eye on it between Jude Pudderfoot in 5th versus Sadiq and Kavekis as well, now getting involved in that. But the battle for second here coming through the first chicane, and this time the fastest lap of the race goes to Rory Hamilton in his pursuit. And I have to assume, Andrew, that the rain, although it still looks very drizzly, the rain has lightened or perhaps stopped for a little while, and now it's just the greasy conditions that they're dealing with, as there's a track limit warning for Kavekis. And yes, still the battle for second place coming through the bottom corner here, closing up nicely between Hamilton and Cox.
It's also closing up to the race leader. They took half a second out of McVeigh last time around. Track limit warning for Oliver Yangu. This race isn't done yet, and given how tricky and how slippery it is out there, one mistake from Laurie McVeigh, and the door is open here for either Cox or Hamilton to step through and take another win this season.
It'll be the last lap board this time around. Yeah, McVeigh, I said a couple of laps ago, the only driver to dip into 103s. Now all of the top three have broken into the 103s. Last lap board is out then. Laurie McVeigh will lead them out onto that that final lap. But what pace has Cox and Hamilton got to apply pressure here? Very different lines from those two drivers through the first chicane. As they sweep into the second, you can see Rory Hamilton working the steering hard here to get that turn in. You've, generally speaking, got to be a little bit more aggressive with the steering. I talked about how long the steering inputs need to be. You also need to, I always find you have to sort of hack away at the wheel a lot more just to get the turn in sometimes. But a good first half of the lap for Laurie McVeigh, Andrew. I think the driver of the number 57 will have enough in hand here to hang on. I think, if anything, it's the battle for second. And look at that, swooping around the outside. Rory Hamilton, but can he get the drive onto the back straight? It's side by side for second place here. Ellis Cox on the inside for the next corner in the number 11. But is the inside going to have the grip that's needed? Are they leaning on each other slightly as they come through here? It's going to be Laurie McVeigh who takes the win. And it's going to be Rory Hamilton who comes home in second ahead of Ellis Cox. Luka Batuev will finish in 4th place. A good controlled drive from him, perhaps a quiet one, as it was, a gap behind and ahead, but good drive from Batuev. Jude Pudderfoot, I think, will lead them home for 5th after a pretty much race-long battle there. And then it's Kavekis and Aidan Hammond will come through. There's the 49 of Yangu. That's Kavekis, Sadiq, Corey Chapman from the back to 8th position. And what's happened to Aidan Hammond on that last lap? He's dropped down quite a way there. That's a difficult race there, I think, for Hammond, or a difficult end to his race. So it's Corey Chapman in 8th, Oliver Yangu up to 9th. Jacob Underhill makes it up into the top 10. Not bad considering he had that spin on the first lap. Then it is Wyatt McAllister, Aidan Hammond, Ben Hunt in 13th, Edward Jones in 14th, Charlie Cipregi in 15th, and it was Max Lovell, Teddy Young, Jensen Barnard, Ewan Farrelly, and Druv Roth to round out your 20 finishes there. More pre-A final action next here at Lydd, this time from our Superlight Juniors.